The Canadian War Museum holds millions of objects in the national collection. Each one tells a story. This flag shows how a simple object can tell us a lot about one family's history. More than 100 years ago, this flag was proudly displayed in the window of the 80 family home in St. Catharines, Ontario. Used during both World Wars, this type of flag was commonly known as a mother's service flag. Each maple leaf represented a loved one who was serving overseas. In the case of the 80 family, the 4 maple leaves represent 4 80 brothers. The first to enlist was 27-year-old Robert, who was a merchant. He signed up in November 1914, just over 3 months after Canada entered the First World War. Robert served as a captain in France with the 19th Battalion, until he was hit in the face and arm by shrapnel from an artillery shell. Badly injured and exhausted, he was transferred to England to recover. There, he met and married his wife Dorothy. He continued serving in England until he was discharged at the end of the war. The next 80 brother to enlist was John, who was a writer. He signed up in 1915, 1 month shy of his 32nd birthday. In February 1916, he was sent overseas, serving with the 1st Canadian Motor Machine Gun Brigade. 8 days before the end of the war, Lieutenant John 80 died of gunshot wounds. He was 35 years old. 22-year-old Alan was the third 80 brother to enlist in July 1916. He was sent to Europe in November 1916, serving as a gunner with the 8th Brigade, Canadian Field Artillery. Alan was killed in action a year later. In his will, he divided his estate among his sisters, Mabel and Jane, his nieces and nephews, and his mother Frances. The last of the 80 brothers to enlist was 25-year-old Archie. He signed up on April 11, 1917, and served as an infantry soldier with the 18th Battalion. Private 80 died on April 10, 1918, from gunshot wounds to the abdomen and face. He had been serving in uniform for 1 year less a day at the time of his death. The 80 family made an unimaginable sacrifice for the war effort. At the start of the war, John and Frances 80 had 7 children, 5 boys: James, John, Robert, Archie, and Alan, and 2 girls, Mabel and Jane. 4 of them served in the war, 3 were killed. When members of the 80 family displayed their service flag in the window, they were letting neighbors know that 4 family members were serving overseas. Some Canadians used the flags to show war deaths, painting a maple leaf a different color when the person it represented was killed. The 80s didn't do that. When Alan, then Archie, and lastly, John, were killed. Canadians proudly displayed Mother's Service flags in their windows during both World Wars. The flags told neighbors something about the family and its service in contributing to the war effort. They also provided a tangible symbol of grief, sorrow, and sacrifice. Today, people still hang or post signs at their homes to show support, express ideas, and mark events that are important to them.